Cover that and more as I go through the WNBA fans speak loudly. WNBA fans have expressed their opinion, and I'm going to share that with you. And it's something that you got to kind of look at and answer the question. So what does Money Mike do? I've got to answer your questions if I come here. Now, what did I go over? And I said, hey, you know what? I got Scott. Scott says, Mike, you chasing views or something? You want to be clickbait? And I like that, right? Because here, let me tell you why I like that. Because now, if you give me a target or something, or you call me something, why don't I just make it number one, right? So let's talk to Greg. I'm curious how you came up with your valuation. Strictly business here. The numbers and venue changes show CC's drawing power. JuJu is not selling out arenas. As her team progressed in the tournament, attendance numbers did climb. I have no idea what her merch sales look like, but the simple fact is she, right? So, I mean, Greg, you got a great point. Now, how did I arrive at JuJu's valuation, right? R&D. When you do the job I do, you got to do a lot of R&D, and you got to look at a lot of metrics, right? You got to look at numbers. So JuJu's getting about $790,000 average per NIL right now. So that number, by the time she comes back or goes through the season, that number is going to rise, guys. That number is going to rise. So for Greg's question, that's how I arrived at it. And when you look at that, it is what it is. Okay, let's go to Tom Kobe. I love your channel, Mike, but you're putting ghetto and black players is not right, and that's his wrong. All right, let's talk about that, because to be a good basketball player, you got to be a ghetto ball player, right? Because see, there's only 144. Let's take it up another 30, or let's go 200 players in the WNBA. Okay, you got to fight, kick, scratch. Most of these players, African Americans, they're coming out of they call it the hood, but really the hood is not the hood. It just means neighborhood. They just shorten the context, right? And so now, when you get this kind of situation, right, you call black players, right? I mean, you got to look at it. For me and Caitlin Clark, right? Caitlin Clark's a ghetto ball player. You can't get that good not going against black players. It is virtually impossible, folks. And that's just what it is. Now, Indiana Fever got some high toxic energy players. These players are high toxic energy. Now, what does that mean? That means the fact that when the fire starts, they're going to be combustible, right? So now we got to put them through the fire and find out, are you ready, right? So that's what I mean by a ghetto ball player, a ghetto pack of dogs. It's a saying in basketball, right? If I do my girls and I got Showtime hoops for them to tell, let's get ghetto. Let's get ghetto right now, right? I mean, I go a different level with that, but a lot of times it's ebonics. All right, it's ebonics, or it's just a term. It's kind of what I heard him say. JuJu Watkins called Caitlin Clark called JuJu Watkins a kid, right? So if you've been around a game, what happens is it's like, let's go, kid. Let's go, kid. That's just a nickname that Caitlin has give JuJu Watkins the kid, but nobody else knows that. And then they got nicknames for Caitlin, right? So at the end of the day, you got to lay in there. Right. Now, let's go to Michael Kistner. You're right that WNBA numbers are chump change. The women's game is cheesy cartoon version of the men's game. Until these women stop trying to be men, that's not going to change. They're fighting millions of years of evolution. That's a good point. The only way they're going to really grow long term is to get rid of the prison ball. Okay, Mike. Okay, Mike Kistner. That's good. That's a good question, Mike. Why do I say it's chump change? For some reason, I don't know how you got to this point, and I'm trying to understand from the WNBA perspective, right? How did they reach this point? How did they get to the level they are now, right? Because you got the WNBA players taking ownership for something they don't own, right? They don't own the WNBA. They're a player in the WNBA. Right? So their duty and responsibility is to be ready to play basketball every night you play, right? Now, you're right. You do not need to be, and I'm going to put this in the right way, you do not need to be like the NBA, right? Because I talk about intellectual property. I talk about every time these women come out of their homes or house or get in the airport, taxi cab, doesn't matter where you are, they got to put a face on. Okay, that's extremely difficult, right? And they've got to present an image or a client image that sells for them. So that's mission critical, right? And if you look at JuJu or Caitlyn, at the end of the day, pick your poison, right? You got to pick your poison. So you got a lot of the Midwest. You guys love Caitlyn. Okay, I'm here in California. I love JuJu Watkins, right? I've been watching this whole thing scenario. Let's talk about attendance, right? Because people got this myth that, Caitlyn sold out, Caitlyn sold out, Caitlyn sold out, right? Well, let's get to the myth. First of all, in Iowa or Indiana, that's the only show in town, folks. That's the only show. You got the Colts. Okay, I don't know if you guys really don't have a baseball team, right? So you only got one show, and Caitlin Clark is a big fish in a small pond. But that worked for Caitlin because it gave her more notoriety and being able to go up to the next level. But that's just a big fish in a small pond. Now, when you get to California, folks, let me evaluate this correctly for you. California, we got San Francisco. We got 4 NFL teams, right? 4 NFL teams. So if JuJu's playing and the Rams are at SoFi, good luck, right? We got like 1, 2, 3 NBA teams, 4 NBA teams, right? Now, you go a step further than that, you get into baseball, right? We got the Giants, we got the Angels, we got the Dodgers, and of course, coming to my home, Sacramento's the Oakland A's, right? We have more to offer, and that's not even getting to the entertainment realm, right? Because when you get to the entertainment realm, now you start seeing numbers that there's a Beyonce concert going on. None of this stuff is happening in Indiana, right? And now let's take a deeper look. I'm always going to have my morning coffee. All right, so let's go to Rodwell. Chigomi. Now, Monica McNutt ready to take over for Swoopes. All right, what did Monica McNutt do? She did the white girl comment, right? She did the white girl comment. Caitlin Clark to me is white chocolate, right? I mean, what is white chocolate? If I call Caitlin white chocolate, a lot of people aren't going to like that name. I only call Caitlin white chocolate. And let me tell you why. It's because Caitlin reminds me of Jason Williams, point guard for the Sacramento Kings. Went to Miami, right? I mean, she plays with that kind of swag, right? And Caitlin has that, so you got to look at it. Let's go back to Cheryl Swoopes. A lot of people don't like Cheryl Swoopes, and this is the reason why, because they feel she's against Caitlin, right? But Cheryl Swoopes, the mother of the church. Anybody who's been in an African-American church, we have mothers in the church. When it come along, what's wrong, baby? Okay, now here's what everybody doesn't see. Is everybody is putting an attack on Cheryl Swoopes, but you haven't seen the body of work since she stopped playing and what she has done. Cheryl Swoopes has done a tremendous body of work. And that's something that people do not see. You don't see when those kids are having problems. You don't see where Angel Reese might have been struggling. You don't see that, right? Because you're only looking at what she's saying today. Now, granted, Cheryl Swoopes is an African-American female, right? And what does that mean? When you people don't want race. Nobody's a racist, right? But here's what you got. You got a projection of racism, black players versus white players, right? Social injustice, right? These are all the things that sell. So here's what really gets me is when you talk badly about Angel Reese, you talk badly about JuJu, or you talk badly about any other WNBA player, you're just making them more money, right? And Angel Reese is making money, right? So they're just making them more money. So you're correct, Greg, when you say it doesn't sell out the arena, but they're making more profit off of their intellectual property. That's what they're supposed to do, folks. That's the way it's supposed to work. It's not supposed to be the league. They're supposed to make money, the league, the money. That's the league's job, right? That's not their job. The league drafts players, say go play. Whatever we make on the back end, that ain't on the WNBA players. And that's why you got more players making money in college, right? All right, let's go here. Who else we got? Monica McNutt. You know, she didn't mean any harm, but you use the terminology white girl, right? So that threw it off. All right. Williams. Clark loves to make her players play the best. There's enough star power in the Fever to change all 5 players by quarters. A force to reckon with can't wait to see all the players play as a team. All right, that's fair, William. No doubt, Clark has an excellent game in the brain, plays well, speaks well when needed, right? You're spot on, William. Williams is spot on, right? Because Caitlin Clark is really good. Caitlin Clark is really good. Caitlin Clark, let me tell you something about Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark's the kind of player, I don't even know what Caitlin's going to do, right? Because I mean, when Caitlin got poked in the eye, Caitlin went in the zone on the WNBA players, right? She said, "The hell with you. Okay, you poked me in my damn eye, so guess what? I'm going behind the back, 20 legs. I'm about to school you, right?" Nobody ever saw Caitlin do that, right? I mean, you didn't see that at Iowa, right? And this thing about the scoring record and JuJu playing too many minutes and people talk. Well, when I pull the numbers, I tell you, I was looking at the numbers. Caitlin Clark has averaged more minutes per game than JuJu Watkins, right? So it's not about that, right? It's just JuJu's bigger, faster, and stronger. So we want to figure out how we can slow JuJu down. Now, here's the deal. How do you know Howard, they're talking about Natasha, is going to average 18 points a game? Maybe she's not going to score half of that and take up nobody's minute. You don't know, right? Because you don't know. And what he said, looks like we got another Cheryl Swoopes. I mean, like the Indiana Fever does not, what does he say? Indiana Fever does not make Caitlin Carpet's superstar. She's a superstar. Yeah, no doubt about it. Here's the deal. You only thing the Indiana Fever have done, and you got, it's not even their fault, right? Because it's really corporate America and Wall Street's fault, right? It's because you're taking a player, you're going to put them on the court 41 games, right? Indiana Fever going to have to learn how to do the Dougie, or they're going to be watching the Dougie, right? And the Dougie is like whop, 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 right? You're going to have to do the Dougie because here's the deal. You got ball players coming, right? And this is what gets me, right? So you have a player like Melissa Smith. You don't like her. She's in Dallas, right? Can't wait to get back to Indiana. And I guarantee you, her and Natasha Howard, they're going to square up. They're going to square up. I guarantee you. Sophie Cunningham, Natasha Howard, y'all better be ready because Melissa Smith going to square up, right? Because you took a ball player that said was no good. You didn't work him out. You didn't treat him right? You really took a second player in the draft and dogged him, right? So now they're getting ready to go play with Dejanay, right? You got Enrique, right? You got Melissa Smith. And then what if they, and this thing about Paige Buchers, I'm not taking Paige Buchers number one. I take Kiki. I tell you guys right now, Kiki's the best. I've been watching Kiki for about 4 years now. Kiki is really good. Now, what happened? You got JuJu was layered over the top of Kiki. Now JuJu's out. Now you got Kiki saying, I can run the show. Kiki's good with the basketball. Kiki's got good size. Kiki can score. She's efficient, right? That's a problem, folks. That's a problem because at the end of the day, you got so many people got a target on the Indiana Fever. I mean, a serious target, right? You got a serious target. And I'm going to build this up and go live and get you guys going because here's the deal. I got some great colleagues, right? Here's my colleagues. Here's my colleague list. Doesn't mean I agree with them, right? But, you know, they're speaking too. So you got John Liquidator, right? John's a good dude, man. I like John. Then you got Mick, right? Mick's Ireland, right? So Mick, have a beer, tell your story, right? Then you got my favorite. You know, I love her. She's the kindest, sweetest person in the world. But then you got Adrian Ross, right? So, and Adrian Ross freaks me out because she uses the word you people, which is a very derogatory term, right? But that's her world. And then you got my boy, I can't name them all, but I listen to you guys because YouTube gives us a list and say, here's what all your fans are watching, right? So who comes up next? Then you got the Pope, right? The Pope, he amazes me because he's a Caitlin Clark fan. And I love Caitlin. I don't have nothing against Caitlin, but guys, listen. When it comes to Caitlin's got to do her job and the rest of the WNBA players got to do her job, Caitlin better sell out, right? Because it's going to get real interesting to me because I think they're going to be a bubble going to pop, right? Because there's not that many fans other than Indiana Fever. And one thing I know about the Indiana Fever fans, they don't want to spend no money, right? Because their attendance dropped down to 1,700. So this is not something we layered on like the Boston Celtics or the Lakers. This is like a startup company, the Indiana Fever. It's a startup basketball team. It's not a legacy team, right? So they got to face stuff that it's going to get tough, right? And Caitlin is a superstar. I'm not worried about Caitlin Clark and how Caitlin's going to play. I'm not worried about that, folks. I'm worried about them other players, because if I'm coaching and I'm looking at Tyler Marsh, and I looked at the Eastern Conference, right? And here's the funny thing about it, because you guys are really up there on Stephanie White, right? You really up there on Stephanie White, and Money Mike don't sugarcoat it. I just watched the game. Let me tell you what I see, folks. And I'm going to keep this going for a while, because I got like 1,000 comments here I got to cover. And it's unfair for you to place the comment, me hit the like or respond, and then not get deeper into it, right? Here's the deal, Indiana Fever. And I'm trying to figure out how you're going to do it. So you got Abe, you got Scott, you got all these guys, right? You got to figure out how you're going to do this, right? So let me break this down. You got the Eastern Conference, right? Let me tell you what's going on in the Eastern Conference. You got Bono sitting up there, right? Top of the league. WNBA champion New York Liberty, can't be beat, right? Just got Natasha Howard. So skip that. You ain't beating them. You got Jewel Lloyd over there, right? And Jewel Lloyd is 300 months to Chelsea Gray in Asia. That's clutch sports, right? Forget that. You're not beating them. So we're going to shorten this down, right? So now you got a new coach at Connecticut. It's from Belgium. Good coach. A lot of good record. Played a lot of championship basketball, right? You got a new coach at the Atlanta Dream, right? That's a good coach, right? Coming out of college. Guy's got like almost a 90% winning percentage, right? And then you go down a little bit deeper, you go to Atlanta Dream, right? So that's the Atlanta Dream, and they just a draft player away. But then you go to the Mystics, right? You got Sidney Johnson. Now, why do I like Sidney Johnson? Sidney Johnson came from Princeton. Pete Carroll. If you know hoop, he's the smartest mind of all these coaches that are coaching in the Eastern Conference right now. I guarantee you that. Pete Carroll, that offense he put in, he did some time with the Kings and everything. You must understand what you're dealing with, right? Because I don't think everybody knows what Caitlin is going to be facing in the Indiana Fever, right? Because you got 8, 9 different defenses now you're going to face. The coaching level, right? You got to look at the coaching level and how the coaching level has went up, right? And when you talk about the coaching level and how it's went up, man, I'm going to tell you guys something right now. I know you love Stephanie White. Stephanie White's the least experienced coach in this division, right? Stephanie White's not that. Her resume and their resume do not match. Now, what I do know about White, and I'm just going to tell you just like I tell anybody else, a lot of Stephanie White stuff been handed to her, right? You got to look at this. A lot of stuff's been handed to her, right? Because Stephanie White came in, won at Indiana, was assistant coach. Went to Vanderbilt, didn't win, right? Came back to the WNBA. Who handed Stephanie White a team? Kurt Miller. Folks, you dig in the background, Kurt Miller coached at Indiana University. That was handed to Stephanie White, right? She didn't build that up. She didn't walk in there and get those players. Kurt Miller built that team up and handed that team up to her, right? She didn't build on the Indiana Fever, okay? She did not build the Indiana Fever, didn't come in. She's taken over another job that's been handed to her, right? So this is where I go with Stephanie White. You got handed this job. You look at her resume. Folks, I want you to go look at the resume of Stephanie White and you look at the resume of the coaches in the Eastern Conference. I will tell you this. There is going to be some miracles. Like I told you, the Indiana Fever better get ready to Dougie, because y'all going to be Dougie or get Dougied on. It's going to be one or the other. Because if the Indiana Fever are not doing the Dougie, and some of y'all don't know what the Dougie is, the opposing team is going to come in there, and these WNBA players, I'm going to carry this all year. When you see them start doing the Dougie and boom, 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 you better go home, because these girls is coming. That Eastern Conference, Alyssa Smith, that's a ball player. I take that any day of the week. Dejanay Carrington, that's a ball player. Stanford player, I take that any day of the week. Doesn't matter to me. So at the end of the day, what am I saying, folks? You got to be cautious on what you wish for, because when you get what you wish for, let's hope it works itself out. All right, here's the deal. I got Madtown images. Madtown. Here's what he says. Hey, listen to Mike as he gets less credible with every reply. You and I, this is what he said, you and I both know that not one GM would take JuJu over Clay. You have lost your mind. You have lost your mind, Midtown, but I got to respect your opinion. I'll wait. In the meantime, I will pass on Stuart Scott. Want to be a talk show and listen to guys talk who don't know what's real and what's clickbait. Boy, and that's what I give you, Matt. I give you a one-on-one interview. I will break you down to the ground and make you feel this small because you do not know what you're talking about. But I got to respect your opinion, right? I got to respect it. So here's the deal. Matt Downs said, not one GM in the WNBA or the NBA who would pick JuJu over Caitlin. So in other words, Caitlin is a point guard. It's not really a point guard, right? She's a combo. But she did so much great in passing, you got to stick with it, right? JuJu plays the 1, the 2, the 3, or the 4. Period. Done. Outweighs you by 30 pounds, right? And so now you're asking the Indiana Fever, this is a Q&A, and I want to give you my truthful, and I want to give you my honest opinion. The Indiana Fever fans are writing a check, right? They're writing a check that Caitlin can't cash, right? It's a bad deal all the way around because now you got everybody gunning, right? And everybody's gunning. You wait till you get to that WNBA All-Star game where you want Caitlin to be an MVP. Caitlin ain't going to be the MVP of that game. I'm going to tell you in advance. You come up with whatever reason you want, right? Because here's what happens when you get situations like this. Either the fans are going to say, hey, we've been here because it's a process, or they're going to come up with excuses. See, this ain't no excuses. Nobody's a rookie. Ain't no time to prepare your team. I don't care if you work out 150 times. To me, and it's a Q&A, I don't care if you work out 150 times. That don't do nothing when you hit that court against opening night against Chicago. That's when you're going to show me what you got. And I'm not going to be even fretting. I already know what Tyler Marsh got. I'm seeing him in the gym. I'm seeing NBA Sam Cassell in the gym. That's a champion. If anybody's going to show him how to run the point guard, man, Sammy can show you slick tricks, right? You got all this working out with NBA players and Tyler's showing the move. Man, hey, guys, listen. Chicago versus Indiana is a 50-50 fight opening night, period, right? I don't care if you come in there with the lineup. You know how many times I've seen that in pro basketball? You remember LeBron went to Miami, Chris Bosh, D-Wade, they were going to be great. They lost. They have to retool themselves, right? So all this about you're going to be great on paper doesn't really transfer, guys. So stick with me, right? So then you get facts. Okay, wow, someone knows basketball. I'm not hating. Yeah, I'm not hating on Caitlin. Guys, I'm telling you, Caitlin got to take these defensive matchups. Caitlin is not the scorer, shooter, passer, but can't play defense because she's not given the matchup. So, and you got some guys, man, I listen to them. I listen to all my guys. I even love Rob, right? Rob, who has a vote, okay, this is a good media person, has a vote, but he put Caitlin Clark in the Hall of Fame after the first year. Caitlin Clark's the best player who ever played the game. Okay, you got Rob and Mark. Listen to you guys. Caitlin Clark's the best player that ever played. Guys, come on now. Come on. They've been doing this thing. The WNBA been selling out arenas. Here's what I don't understand. All right, you got Candace Parker sells out arenas, right? Just think about that. You got Maya Moore been selling out arenas, no doubt about it. You got Cheryl Miller. They ain't playing in WNBA, been selling out arenas for years. Cheryl Miller got 100 points in the game, and here's what I did know, and I do know what Cheryl Miller said, and it was very true. She said WNBA players can be petty. Right? They're going to be petty because they hated on me, so I know why they hate Caitlin, right? But you got to look at what Cheryl Miller is saying. Cheryl Miller is protecting Caitlin, but Cheryl Miller is a USC Trojan. So where do you think her loyalty lies? In that USC Trojan, JuJu Watkins. Where do you think Candace Parker loyalty lies? In that USC Trojan, right? You got to look at this. Maya Moore, that USC Trojan is sitting over there. And I'm telling you guys, I love JuJu, and I don't have a problem with JuJu's 2 years behind. So she's doing things that players aren't doing in the WNBA or people aren't doing. Man, that's a lot. And you know, the other thing, people came in, and I listened to Adrian Ross, and Adrian Ross probably competent, but she sat in the face of the public and said, Gottlieb doesn't know how to coach. Mick Talk Hoops sat up there and said, Gottlieb is the worst coach that JuJu ever could have. You guys are so far off, it's ridiculous, right? I'm watching Gottlieb, who I know, I've been watching her since Santa Barbara all her career, going in there in the Elite Eight, and she's going without JuJu Watkins, right? That's coaching, folks. That's what a coach is supposed to do. Here's the deal that I'm trying to tell everybody. JuJu's hurt, okay? You got Gottlieb's going to go run and win a championship. So I'm going to tell you guys, if Caitlin Clark gets hurt, you better still win a championship. I'm going to repeat that. If Caitlin Clark gets hurt, Indiana Fever, Stephanie White, your duty is to still win a championship, right? And that's what I want to see, because now Stephanie White has to coach, right? You're building all this up on another player. Why don't we build it up on your coaching? Because Stephanie White's the least experienced coach in the Eastern Conference. Every one of them coaches has got a longer resume and has got a better resume, okay? So how's that going to work? I'm looking at this going, I ain't never seen nothing like this, because you got to look at the teams in the Final Four. That's not by fluke, right? And you got a coach like Lynn Roberts. Let me tell you how this works, folks. You got Lynn Roberts coach at Chico State, right? I already told you. Aaron Rodgers coached my son in basketball, Crescent City. You know, was getting ready to retire, go to Pittsburgh Steelers, right? Lynn Roberts goes to Stockton, right? I mean, and about a fluke of it, okay? Because the player, Gina Johnson, did not want to go far away from home. And I told her, Mom, you know, let's keep her home because she ain't going to make it away, right? So we got a UOP. Who's the coach of UOP? Lynn Roberts, right? They're 6'5" and 27. I got a stockpile of girls who just changed the program, right? So Lynn Roberts got 3, 4, 5 of my girls, right? And all of a sudden, Lynn Roberts is balling out, right? I even tried to send a Taj from Long Beach Poly who ended up setting the NCAA record in blocks, right? But at the time, Taj wasn't ready. So now you got Lynn Roberts goes to Utah. Lynn Roberts wins again, right? Then you come back and Lynn Roberts, the head coach of the Lakers, right? Excuse me, the Sparks, right? Might as well say the Lakers, owned by Magic Johnson, right? So when you get all these coaches, and I look at all their resumes, right? I'm looking at, I ain't gonna touch Bono. Bono's on another plane. Bono and that general manager, New York Liberty, they're on another plane. They're like a Tesla. They're gone. You ain't gonna catch them, because what Bono's been able to do is duplicate every position with a player that's so similar to the player that's starting, right? And you just got to figure that one out, right? So, wow, someone who knows basketball not hating you. That's right. Is this the guy hoping for views? This is my guy, Steve. Declaring JuJu is the best player in the world is just play dumb. That's to you. See, that's to you. I'll tell you a story. I'll tell you a Luka story, all right? They thought Marvin Bagley out of Duke. Okay, Sacramento Kings, Vlade Divac took him with the second pick. Okay, he didn't take Luka. Okay, Vlade Divac's out of a job as a GM. Okay, you fool around, take the wrong player. Okay, when the other player's winning championships, and now Luka's in Lakers, right? It's a preference, but doesn't work like that, right? And I'm really afraid of the fact the team's going to lose some money, right? Because I wouldn't move any games to arena if the minute they told me 41 national television game, you know what I told everybody in the Indiana Fever area? We can stay home and watch the games now. We're on national TV every game. There is no effect for the Indiana Fevers driving or flying on the road to go watch ball, and either can watch it on national TV or watch it at the field house. That's double jeopardy, right? Because now you're dependent on Caitlin to fill up those arenas, and if those arenas don't sell out, you got a problem, right? And here's the deal with that, because, you know, people announce the sellout and everything. It's not really. There's never, folks, in the life of I've been to an event, there's never been a pro sporting event that's completely sold out, right? They call it sold out because people buy the tickets. They got a lot of brokers, got a lot of vendors, right? And then at the end of the day, if they don't sell the tickets get dumped, right? They get dumped or give it away. They go down to cheap value. So, you know, that's a risky proposition moving it, but we got to wait. So, Steve, you know what? At the end of the day, when Steve says you're hoping for views, folks, here's one thing about me that I like, that I enjoy. You never hear me say like and subscribe, right? I don't say like and subscribe because I feel more comfortable saying all things are possible to those who believe, right? So that kills the like and subscribe. It just makes it to where, is it necessary, right? Because why would I entice you to like and subscribe, but you don't even like me, right? Come on, guys, let's get that one right? All right, let's go here. Let's see. It's nice to see a man in a jacket. Too many YouTube bums always wearing T-shirt. And that's Kiko. Hey, you know what? I appreciate that, right? Because at the end of the day, there has to be a standard. Has to be a standard in the media. We can't just run around here in flip-flops and just say, hey, we're going to do this, right? But I respect it. Okay, here's the deal. Oh, my gosh, she's not better than Agent Wilson. Caitlin Clark. Yeah, I mean, because here's the deal. People say a lot of things about JuJu. JuJu Watkins is a clutch player. Jada Lee, right? The players that play for Clutch are the best in every league, right? The best in the NBA. They're going to be the best in the WNBA. Who's for Clutch, right? You got Boston's a Clutch player. So by the time, if this season doesn't work out and everybody jumps on Boston here, you know what? You got Rich Paul, a mover, right? You got Rich Paul, a move Boston. There's no reason for us to do that, right? You got Tyler Marsh as a clutch coach, right? You got Becky over there as being a clutch coach. She's got nothing but clutch athletes. Why? Because that's NBA branded, right? So Tyler Marsh, NBA branded. So when you get these guys who've been around the NBA, you can call NBA players or coaches in and help you out. I mean, that's the ball game. So keep that one in mind. Okay, we'll do a couple more. Keep up the good work. Work out, kid. Caden Clark, best of the best. WNBA 225 MVP. Caden Clark cooking. F haters, JuJu. It's real. Okay. Folks, that's like a Pacquiao Mayweather fight to me, right? Here's the deal. Everybody's talking. Who's better, right? Because you know they can't play, right? The only time they really can play is maybe in the 2008 Olympics. Team USA, they'll be on the same team. But everybody gets to say how good Caitlin is because Caitlin ain't playing her. But if you tell me this, when JuJu comes in the league and JuJu returns, and Caden Clark's going to take that matchup, and Caitlin Clark's going to take that Ionescu matchup and the Cloud matchup, and Caden Clark's going to take that Chelsea Gray matchup, right? All these matchups to be great, Caitlin's got to stop some of these. And if Caitlin don't play defense, I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to win a championship with a switching defense. I'm going to make this easy. I'll wrap up with this and we'll come back and see you again. You're not going to win a championship with a switching defense. You win championships playing man-to-man, right? And if you can't play man-to-man, then guess what? You better learn fast. Because if you don't know how to play man-to-man, boom, 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 go get the Dougie on you, man. And when these guys get the Dougie down and Dougie up and Dougie down on you, boy, you're going to be in big trouble. I'm going to tell you now because they're going to lock up man-to-man. And all the other guards, look at Plum. Plum already in Caitlin's chest. Plum going to get in Caitlin's head, right? That's just the way it goes. But the bottom line is just, folks, I'm glad I had the chance to give some of those responses. And the other, I don't dislike Caitlin. I like Caitlin. I don't like a target on my player's back, right? Because now players got to have that, right? And it happened a long time, a kid, Demetrius Walker, right? Great ball player. 8th grader, cover of Sports Illustrated, couldn't handle the pressure. It's different when Caitlin came in the league as an underdog. I don't have a problem with it, right? And at the end of the day, I'm not going to be non-objective and start covering Caitlin. I got 144 other players to cover. And I know how good each one of them is. I know how good their coaches are. I know how good their assistant coaches are. I know how good their GMs are, right? I know all of this has got to come into R&D and tell me who's going to be the best. I can tell you flat out, and I'll have fun with it because I'm going to have fun with my colleagues, right? They're all good people. Ain't nothing wrong with them, you know, and I got Simply Balling over there, the Chicago guys, man. The Chicago guys do a good job too. But the thing is, it's one thing to say it. It's another thing to step on that court and do it. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast coming to you by Too Hot Media under the umbrella of Rock Nation. We're going to keep it going, folks. This is good stuff.